Hey guys, this is Roxanne again. I'm going to do a quick little top 5 of the FBI's most wanted fugitives in history. And we're going to start with the first person that was ever put on the FBI list, which was Thomas James Holden. On March 14th, 1950, Thomas Holden was the first fugitive to be placed on the FBI's newly created 10 Most Wanted Fugitives list. Holden was arrested on June 23, 1961, in Beaverton, Oregon, following a tip from a citizen who read a wire service story in Portland, Oregon newspaper, The Oregon, and contacted the FBI. Like I said, Thomas James Holden was the first person placed on the top 10 FBI's most wanted. Holden's story was he was a gangster that included things that he did included robbery. He did prison breaks in the 1920s and 30s. He was recaptured on a golf course in Kansas City, Missouri, but was placed on the list in 1950 for murdering his wife and her 2 brothers in Chicago. Number 2, we have Morley Vernon King. Due to an FBI investigation, Morley Vernon King was apprehended in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, at a restaurant on October 31st, 1951. The article I found on him was a little long, but body most wanted by FBI. So this is going to be body and trunk launches search for a wife slayer. By James Lee. Washington, June 21st. An exotic international romance that ended in grisly murder is recounted by the FBI in a grim story of Morley Vernon King, sought as a fugitive since July 9th, 1947. A trunk containing the body of a woman was found on that date under the back porch of a San Luis Obispo, California hotel. The woman had been strangled by a man's scarf knotted around her neck. The victim was identified as Miss Helen King, whose husband had been operating the hotel dining room for several months. King left San Luis Obispo on July 8th, about 3 a.m. Investigation developed that he killed his wife July 1st, hid her body in the closet of his room for 6 days, and finally stuffed it in a trunk and placed it under the hotel's back porch. The FBI has not been able to determine the motive for the hideous crime, but has established these facts. King, a native of West Virginia, ran away from home at the age of 15. He traveled extensively in Europe and for a number of years lived in fabled Casablanca, Morocco, where he met and married his wife. And then he returned to the U.S. The Kings returned to the United States in 1934 and lived for a time in New Orleans, where they operated a restaurant. King left California in a 4-door Buick sedan, which was recovered approximately a year later in Montana. When he left San Luis Obispo, he was carrying a .32 caliber Blue Steel automatic. Though King has been a fugitive for nearly 4 years, the FBI is confident he will be caught for. There is one physical characteristic he cannot hide. His right leg is shorter than his left, and he walks with a slight limp. Since he is an accomplished chef and speaks Spanish, French, and Italian fluently, the G-men have reason to believe that he may be working in a foreign-type restaurant. The clues. Here are other aids to identification of the wife slayer. Aliases that he has used are Stanislaus E. Ludwig, Alfred Edwin Morgan, Nathaniel Goldman. Habits: he enjoys cooking, likes to fish, is known to lead a quiet life. His fondness for good food resulted in what the FBI calls a very prominent stomach. His description is he's aged 49 at the time of this. Height 6 foot 1 inches, weighing 210 pounds. He has a medium build. His hair is brown. His eyes are brown, and he sometimes wears horn-rimmed glasses. I'm assuming that's what that is. Complexion is light. He has scars a 1-inch scar at the corner of his right eyebrow. And it says, warning, he is believed armed and considered extremely dangerous. And number 3, we have William Raymond Nesbitt. On March 18th, 1950, Nesbitt was arrested in St. Paul, Minnesota, by local police following a wire service story in the St. Paul Dispatch. This is what I could find on him. I'm not sure if this is the wanted poster or if this is his booking. I don't know what this is exactly, but it's an identification order is what it says, so I'm not sure how this was used, but excuse me. It basically gives his description, which is his age is 48. He was born June 1st, 1899. In Marshalltown, Iowa. His height is 5 feet 5 inches. His weight 160 pounds. His build is medium. He has brown hair with gray streaks in it. His eyes are brown. His complexion is ruddy. His race is white. Nationality American. And then it says his occupations have been box maker, butcher, electrician, helper, laborer, and shoemaker. The scars and marks that he has a boil scar on his neck, a scar above the left eye, irregular scar left foreears, inner characteristics. Nesbitt is left-handed. It says his criminal record and what he was wanted for is Nesbitt has been convicted in the state of South Dakota for the crime of murder. And number 4, we have Henry Randolph Mitchell. Mitchell was placed on the list 3 days after its inception and was the only one of the original members still at large when the process against him was dismissed in Tallahassee, Florida. This is what I could find on the information about that is in order to pay for his debts, Little Mitch resorted to bank robberies, forgery, and narcotics after he and his gang robbed a Florida bank in 1948. Mitchell, a leprechaun of a man, escaped while his taller colleague was quickly captured. And number 5, we have Omar August Pinson. Due to an FBI investigation, Pinson was arrested in Perry, South Dakota on August 28, 1950 by local police while applying for his driver's license. And the thing that I could find on him is also an identification order. It says, this one's a little hard to read, so I'm going to try to pull it up a little more so I can see better. So we have, at this time that they were looking for him, he was age 31, born March 31st, 1918, in Joplin, Missouri. He was 5'11", and it looks like he weighed 181 pounds. He had a medium build. His hair was dark brown. His eyes were brown. His complexion was dark. His race was white, nationality American. His education was high school. His occupations were electrician, lineman, truck driver. Sears and Marks. That's hard to read. Sorry. Large slanting scar inside left wrist. Small mole right side of the neck. and he was wanted for, and criminal record is Pinson has been convicted for tampering with I can't see what that says. Automobile, maybe? Burglary, robbery, and murder. He escaped from confinement while serving a life sentence on the murder conviction for killing a law enforcement officer. It says, caution. Prisoner is armed and is extremely dangerous. Reportedly carries 2 to 4 guns. Okay, guys, so that is it for the top 5 FBI's most wanted throughout history.